Alright, I don't see it. Is it playing on you? Oh, there it goes. Hey!
Hey!
Alright, now I'm going to meet you all on my side and see if I can. Oh, no, because I can't do that. Hi, guys! We're back in a sort of fashion. How does the sound? Joe talk.
Test.
Test.
Let's see if they respond. How is the sound?
Test.
If it doesn't work, it will be the first time that anyone has ever complained about not having to listen to me.
Hey, you know what? It's small victories, right?
Usually it's the opposite problem.
They said they could hear everyone, so we are up and running. Yes, he stepped away.
Walking at a brisk pace, anyway.
Yeah, we are creeping.
Away for a moment.
We're slothing along.
With our new host.
Yes, I'll be your host today, folks. How's everybody doing? I have no idea what to talk about. Promos. We were talking about promos. Why don't you talk about promos?
Yeah, we were talking about promos.
I can't really chime in on this because I don't play Magic the Gathering, so...
I don't go to events that give promos for the most part, so it's all you.
I mean, I think that promos are an interesting thing because it is hugely dependent on what the actual card for the promo is. If it's something that people want, either because it's particularly unique or because it's a card that people need for competitive play, I think it can be hugely successful, and I think you can see that in the excitement that people have had about Fatal Push coming out as a promo, because that's a chase uncommon, as hard as that is to imagine right now. And so I think the opportunity to get some foil Fatal Pushes is going to be popular. Conversely, when you have a promo like Colossal Whale, I don't even know how many seasons ago that was, where I still have in my binder somewhere about 8 Colossal Whales that I'm never ever going to find anybody who wants them. So it's hugely dependent on what the cards actually are, and to some extent I think that means it's dependent on the ability of the team that's putting the promos together to sort of peer into the future and see what the new cards are going to be that people are going to need, and sometimes they're going to guess wrong, and there's just nothing that you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hit perfection each time.
I don't know.
I
I've
think
played
that there
3
would be
games, and I won all 3 games. So I'm a perfect player.
Well, there you go.
But
You're
that is
killing it.
all I've played.
The only thing the thing that occurs to me that would be an alternative, and I don't know if there would ever be any appetite to try things, would be to do something like full art basic lands, where people always want full art basic lands. If you did new art that was specific to one of the planes that we're visiting in a set, I could see that being something that would be pretty low risk. But I suspect that there's a limited number of times that you can go to that well before people are going to be like, well, I don't need any more full art swamps.
Yeah, it's real true, but yeah, full art lands are always awesome. They look great.
Yeah.
And
especially with alternative art that you can't find somewhere else.
Exactly, and hey, look, you could be like, look, I have a full art land deck. That'd be cool.
And when it works, it's great, whether it's because it's something that everybody needs or it's just something that happens to hit that particular nerve for you. I mean, years ago at this point when they were doing War Leaders Helix. Oh boy, I can speak really well. War Leaders Helix as a FNM promo with new art. I know that every week I was there at FNM because I was gunning. I wanted to get a play set of War Leaders Helixes because I was playing them at the time, and that's to me.
You're breaking up a bit.
You're breaking up a bit. Did we lose him?
I can't hear.
Really,
he's frozen on my screen too.
The most fun things about FNM is it's not about at least for me anyway, it's not about to be super competitive about, oh no, Let's
You
see,
froze for a moment. Now
Yeah.
my best animated. Okay.
It was like
Now I'm at least more animated than the door.
Yes.
I hope.
a little bit.
I hope Streamcat pops up and just sits in front of the
Just sitting
camera.
there.
Yeah.
We've replaced Matt with Streamcat.
Well, he's
now.
tied in the corner, remember, so he can't stop the cat.
That's my only goal right now, is to be at least slightly more interesting than the door.
I mean, you are lagging, so it's a little hard. And, I mean, the door's, it's solid, so.
The
door is always in character.
door.
Joe's always more animated than the door.
Woohoo!
Sing us a song of your people. No. Please.
If I'm a rich man.
Does
Anyway.
anybody have any requests for Joe, by the way? Because he's in a very singing mood. Please leave it in the chat, and we'll see what we can do. And, you know, if we need to kill some air till Matt gets back, I guess.
I don't know where he went.
I don't know where he went either. He said he would be right back, and it's been like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he said he was going to fix a technical issue and then disappeared.
He got on a tiny motorcycle and disappeared, and we will never
I hope he shows up in
see or
Joe's
hear from
stream.
him again.
Like, just pops up in Joe's
Just drive
background.
to my house.
In the meantime, Joe is gonna sing Uptown Funk, so
Oh, yeah.
stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Um,
No, I can't beat the version of there's a YouTuber who does Uptown Funk in the voice of the Family Guy cast,
oh, jeez.
That's- and he switches between them like seamlessly.
So I know the next thing he had on the plan was magic spoilers for Commander. I don't know if you guys either of you could address that, kind of jump to it, or if you want to talk more about promos.
Go ahead.
I have been actively trying to avoid the spoilers,
Okay. I don't know
so I'm the wrong
anything
wrong
about
person
him.
to tackle that.
Yeah, and I don't know anything.
I did have Chad to look up.
Yeah, he said they were slipped or something, I believe he mentioned, so...
I know the one that he talked to me about last night was there's going to be a
And that's
cat
cutting
track.
out as soon as I pick it up.
There's going to be a
Give me a
cat.
second for me.
So
Keep going.
cats continue
To talk.
to invade the magic universe and mate with everything else. Any comments on that?
I love cats, and they don't care if we live or die.
But we've had so far recently. We've had cat monkey, cat snake,
Yep.
Sir Papard.
Yep.
Which
Mummy cats.
The only good card I've gotten so far from a monkette was Sir Papard. And I'm like, of course, we talked about. We had a whole part of an episode talking about cat snake, and that's the one legendary card I get is cat snake.
Cats are the new squirrels, since they won't make squirrels anymore. Now we get cats.
Squirrels. All I really want is squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. My friend in high school had a squirrel deck, and that's what he sang every time he played it.
So, okay, back up. There's an actual squirrel deck for Magic? Or is this like something else? Did we segue without me catching on?
Yeah, no, there were enough cards that you could make a squirrel deck.
Oh, why didn't I know about this? That would have get me into it. Sold.
There was kind of a 2 or 3 year period back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where squirrels were a little bit pushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had things that were making squirrels for you, and since then squirrels have essentially gone the way of the Beebles. I'm afraid we don't have Beebles anymore. We don't have squirrels anymore.
Yeah. Now we have cats.
Now we have cats, and
Cats
I
everywhere.
can be okay with that as much as I
Is
miss.
that another computer that
I
he
have
had?
no idea.
I don't know what he's doing.
I have no idea
There's
either.
like some
I think we've lost our
full-blown
host completely.
weird science stuff going on here.
Should I just like kick him out of the call? No.
I think we've lost our host completely. That's fine.
All right, I'll be
I
your
was
host today.
You could be host. I'll be
And
your
now we go
co-host.
And now we go live to Door.
to door.
Well, the next thing on it, since you don't want to go into spoilers too much, is the Pathfinder flip maps for airships.
No,
Are they
you skipped D&D Stream of Annihilation.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry. Yes.
Fail sauce.
what is it? I believe it's the second and third. Yep. They're going to be doing 2 days of 12-hour D&D game streams.
Yep, 10 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific to 10 p.m. Pacific. Yes. And it's going to be what I was looking up. It said like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they're unveiling like more new settings and stuff, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And they're doing some live gaming and all. I don't know. It looked like a lot of stuff. Almost a.
That's going to be a Friday and Saturday of next week.
Yeah.
So I probably will not see any of it because I work, and that's going to be right on Friday. Most of the chunks is going to be right when I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that everybody stays hydrated. That's the important thing. You need to hydrate during those marathon
I got
streams.
mine right here. My Nutanix. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's been a long time since my friend had his squirrel deck and I played against it, so I'm not sure. Sorry, commenting.
What was it?
Asking if it had
the squirrel god?
Or the Norse squirrel god. I don't know that one, so I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I didn't even know there was a Norse squirrel god.
You're missing out, sir.
All I know is he wants nuts.
Oh, the nuts.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
I mean, I think it's cool that they're going to be doing 2 days of 12-hour game streams.
Mm-hmm.
I know Chris Perkins is going to be involved, which he's been writing a lot for them, so that's cool. And he already does great game streams already.
Mm-hmm.
I love his Curse of Strahd one. What I've seen of it so far, because I'm currently in a Curse of Strahd game, so I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm pretty excited,
okay,
even though
as long as I don't move ever.
Don't move.
So
don't even breathe.
Get the duct tape. We're taping him to his chair so he cannot move.
Is my video like frozen?
No,
you're
good.
moving.
2x4s and binder clips.
Whatever. All right, what were we talking about? I have lost every track of everything. You probably were discussing stuff
we
on
on D&D
Stream of Annihilation.
So you guys talked about
which is oddly fitting. So
promos and the
didn't go into promos too much just because Orc has been trying to avoid any promos for it.
For the Friday Night Magic.
For the spoilers.
Oh no, for Commander spoilers.
Not promos, for the
Commander spoilers.
Promo a little bit. We went into Commander spoilers, but he didn't want to go too much into it. I mentioned the cat dragon.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit, and then we went to now D&D Annihilation, Stream of Annihilation.
Well, rather than talking about spoilers, what do you think about the fact that they got spoiled? How about that for a topic, for something just to mention? Because I haven't seen anything like this really, and the problem is, didn't they use someone's name, like the Thoughtseize or something, the podcast people?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely whoever it was that posted the spoilers on Instagram changed the name of their Instagram account to be very similar to the name of a podcast that has a Twitter account. And who knows if it was intentional or what the intent was, but there was some initial confusion about that, and that I'm sure that is not a good way to wake up in the morning and find out that everybody thinks you're someone was back to you. So that is probably a bad way to start your day.
Look, just because I've handed over the reins temporarily, because apparently nothing works on the streaming side, at least when it comes to everyone else's audio.
No, you are no longer the Lord of Dracovin. You have been demoted, and we now have a queen.
I prefer mistress, just so you all know.
You can be a mistress.
And don't make me use this.
You do
on
have the Cat of Nine Tails. Or the
I
Flower
will
of
use
Nine Tails.
Cat of Nine Flowers.
Cat of Nine Flowers, yes, there you go.
But no,
cats are topical right now.
They are.
Yes, cats are topical. But I was seeing how, apparently they did manage to communicate with Wizards and be like, hey, we're not behind this.
Would you say this spoil is a catastrophe?
Yes. Damn it, my Pop-Tarts fell down, and I have to move, and I have to worry about losing audio. Pop-Tarts!
Oh, I thought you said Pop Crunch, and I'm like, what?
I have to worry about losing audio every time I move.
So stop moving.
I can't help it, there's Pop-Tarts.
We will get the duct tape if we have to.
The tarts are not allowed to pop anymore. Go away.
Anyway, okay. That's pretty much all I wanted to bring up about that. So I guess where were you guys on Stream of Annihilation?
We talked about when it's happening, the times. We were talking about Chris Perkins is going to be part of it. Yeah, and I was talking about my love for Chris Perkins. It's, or what the streams he's already done for D&D.
Also, that along with you, Joe, I think the hour choices and the day choices is kind of gonna be a pain because I can't do Friday, like you said. I'm working as well, and then Saturday I actually have like family in town and stuff. So I was like, oh, perfect timing.
I think they should have done the weekend at the very least.
Yeah,
just
like
make
Saturday
it Saturday
and
Sunday. That would make more sense than starting at midday on a Friday when people are working.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting choice. Yeah, because they're doing it Friday, Saturday. Maybe they just don't want to work on a Sunday. Thank you very much.
It's not work, it's gaming.
Exactly. It's not work if you like it.
For them, it's work.
Well, when gaming is your work, you can game anytime.
But to be fair, it honestly is. This is something where the industry, gaming in general, has changed so much over the course of the last couple of years with the rise of streaming and that becoming not just for players and for people who stream themselves, but for the company make games. Now this has become a channel that you have to use to communicate with your fan base and you have to use to communicate with your audience. And part of that, though, does have to be careful about the time demands that you're putting on your employees if you are now asking them to participate in this medium as part of their job responsibilities, because you can get requests that come in from publishers or from business partners who will come to you and say, oh, hey, we're doing a product release. Why can't some people on your team just do a 24-hour live stream when it comes out, because that'll be great for business? And it requires recognition that these are human beings who can't always put their lives on hold, and who also maybe you don't want to have to stream for 24 straight hours.
Yeah, but if you're only doing it, once a year, maybe even twice a year, it's not, they're not asking them to do it every weekend going forward, saying, hey, we're going to do 24-hour streams Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the next, 3 months straight. Block your calendars. It's 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I'm wondering if they're going to post these streams on YouTube so people who maybe can't catch on Friday can at least, catch up on it.
I hope so, because I know I won't be able to catch them, so I would love to be able to at least watch it after the fact.
The fact is, a lot of the material for me is sort of like, I watch a certain number of other people doing RPG streams, and there's so many that they're out there that I'm like, I don't have time for all of them.
Yeah.
So, and except for the Chris Perkins one doing dice camera action, I'm not really interested in many of the other ones. I've heard of them, but it's sort of like, and I can understand how other people might be into them. So that's it's not my part of it, but it's sort of like I have to go through 24 hours in order to get the announcement of this
one thing.
IP they're coming out with. Yeah, which is what I'm interested in, really.
Gotcha.
Right.
And I didn't see an actual schedule. I just saw that it's running at this time to this time, but I didn't see this hour is going to be this. I didn't know if maybe I was looking in the wrong spot.
And they had a YouTube announcement of it. They didn't go into what the schedule was there either.
Yeah, because that'd be nice.
I'm hoping they would bring back Sigil as a setting.
They've talked about it for playing.
I love Sigil.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of them that they could do. It's going to be impossible to tell what they're going to do. They have been focusing on Faerun for the last couple of them. For Storm King Sunder's Faerun, and they did Ravenloft with Curse of Strahd. And I think the Dragon Queen and Princess of the Apocalypse both I think
they're all
both
Faerun. Yeah, they're all Sword Coast Faerun. So
now
I'm running both of those.
they did have some art hints of what might be going on. They did have a cityscape, and it had like T-Rexes and So I'm not sure what that's exactly hinting at.
Someone said that could be Al-Kaheen.
Oh, okay.
It's technically on Toril, the same world as Faerun, but in AD&D they didn't technically connect the map as much. It was the Arabian continent. It was basically like the Middle East in the same world.
Well, I would assume that by the name. Which kind of goes in... Well, it kind of slightly goes in what they're doing with magic with Egypt, so...
That actually is a really interesting thing if they would...
Tie them together, sorta.
A little bit. That actually is something I could see them technically doing, just because of the way that things have been going, that they don't want to necessarily directly cross them, but they still want a little bit of connectivity, it seems like.
Right, because it's like where the company is pointing at the moment.
Well, that's what, like, I really want to play with the plane shift information, which is magic world settings in D&D.
Do it.
Which, that means we need Sigil again.
Yes, I know you need Sigil again.
It's my favorite city. It's so cool.
I still want my updated rules for Spelljammer, thank you very much. Actual 5th edition Spelljammer rules. I want players to be able to play hippo people.
Yes!
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
I would make a great hippo person.
I can accept this.
Do you feel an uncontrollable compulsion to eat marbles?
I am not a hungry hippo, thank you very much.
Are you sure?
I'm a monocle-wearing hippo. Monocle hippo.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm anticipating it. But I'm ready for, we'll find out, I guess. We're gonna learn more during the week. Sorry, I'm trying to let chat know. I'll just tell them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can hear you.
Yes, you may speak, sir.
I will allow it on my stream.
Normally we're 1 p.m. tomorrow for Treasure of the Lost Legion, our D&D stream, Ghostman. But because of I've had some family issues over the past couple of weeks that I got to go visit people in New Jersey every week. We've been pushing it to 4 p.m. So that's going to be sort of Eastern time.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and that'll be the normal for now until things resolve in my family, and then hopefully we can move back towards that middle of the day. But unfortunately, because it's a Sunday, times move around.
Yep.
It's the weekend. So, it's a Spelljammer, 5th edition Spelljammer. So I'm just taking the 5th edition rules, I'm adapting the Spelljammer stuff from AD&D. Actually, Rachael and Joe here are 2 of my players.
I'm a cat.
I'm a gnome. And we like to visit bathrooms.
Shh, don't mention the bathrooms.
It was like 10 times.
In one session.
In one session. Again,
cat goes in and an elf comes out.
God. Anyway, so why don't we move on, though, because we do have a couple more topics, and we're already behind schedule. We want to try to chug things out at least a little bit.
Yep.
I did want to talk
Lightning
about...
round.
Lightning round.
Ding, ding.
I did want to talk a little bit about the fact that Paizo puts out their flip maps, which I guess are supposed to be, dry erase, I think they are.
Yes.
Maps. And the thing is, normally they're like jungle or caverns or something like that I feel are a little more adaptable to where you're putting it. This one is airship. It seems very oddly specific.
Hey, you could use some of those.
Yeah. Well, maybe they have something else coming out soon that's gonna tie into it. It's the prequel to
That's
other
the
content.
only thing I could think of, because otherwise it's also like dragon airship, which is it's
super
very
specific.
Odd. I know, that's what it's super specific. And it's just one floor of it too. And the other side I think is technically I guess a bottom floor, so you can flip over for 2 floors of it. So that also seems very specific in that matter.
Either that, or this is just an editorial comment for everybody out there saying you should be playing more airship games.
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
I think we should.
Why don't you want Dragon Airship?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, okay. Dragon Airship, it's all fine. I can support Dragon Airship. It's just it's oddly specific. Thank you very much.
It concerns him.
Would you prefer a cat
put-
airship?
Cat Dragon Airship.
Cat Dragon Airship.
Cat Dragon Airship. Yes.
No, Cat Snake Airship.
Oh.
Cat dragon.
I would love it. I would love it if they would actually put that on the packaging. It would just say Dragon Airship. It's oddly specific.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
That would be pretty interesting. I can see that. Yeah, oddly specific. Instead, it's just like we have an airship.
That's a dragon.
It's a dragon.
It's a dragon airship.
It's I guess it is 24 by 30 inches, so it's a pretty big one, and it uses both wet or dry markers. But that's sort of the standard for most Pathfinder flip maps, which are cool, and I like the flip maps. It's just, again, like when I look back at the past flip maps, I like them a lot better.
For a specific reason, or just do you like them better?
Because they're more, they're not as specific, I think he means. Because they're more generic, so you can use them in
For a
like,
non-specific
different
reason,
ways.
then.
Yeah, okay. So here's a couple of the older ones. Ruined Village, Arcane Library, Haunted House. These things are still, like, you're still using a map, but, like, when I say Haunted House, I can tell you how many, like, there's plenty of games I've had where Haunted House comes up. While on the other hand, it's like Dragon Airship, or just Airship in general.
Well, you could use it for your game, and it would come up rather often.
That's what I was gonna say. We're technically on a giant airship of sorts, so.
Yeah, but it does. But we're not going to be using it as a flip map. Thank you very much.
Well,
Why
that's
not?
your choice.
You could scan it in and have it on roll d20. And
I'm sure they have a PDF of it. Let's make it feel bad.
With a little imagination, I'm sure you could. With a little imagination, I'm sure you could adopt this to any number of mass transit scenarios. It could be ship, dragon, bus, dragon, barge.
It could just be a dragon ship. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be airship.
Although it does have big wings.
Well, the wings do fold upwards and to make sails. Haha.
Ah. Well,
Dragon recreational vehicle.
Dragon unicycle.
Dragon go-kart.
This is what we've devolved into.
I think this is Dragon on, though.
It really is.
Oh my goodness. Joe, stop. No.
No, I already made that joke in an actual. I said that in a game where we were all playing dragons.
Yes, you did.
Nice.
I said I like a good dragon story, but this is really Dragon on.
Ugh.
That was the exact reaction of everyone else.
That was just like, no. Why?
His worst was on our last stream when he had the giant statue with a bowl. It made me harken back to something he did in another game, which was there was a small statue holding an alms bowl, and he's like, "Ooh, free bowl!" and takes the bowl.
I didn't know it was an alms bowl. It was offering me a free bowl.
It was not offering you a free bowl.
Pretty sure it was offering a free bowl.
It was totally a free bowl.
Well, maybe this wasn't actually a bowl that we should have dropped the stone in. Maybe we should have tried to take the bowl then.
I think it worked out great.
Didn't somebody once say that the only iron rule in role playing is that you should steal everything that isn't nailed down?
Yes.
And if it is nailed down, you should steal a crowbar, pry the nails out, and steal it anyway.
Yes. That is a factual statement.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived by that rule, so.
Mm-hmm. Does that work with other characters as well? Should you steal other characters in general? Just
you
them,
won't fit in my pouch.
I might fit in your pouch. My character's only like 2 feet tall.
I know.
You just see him like his feet like barely in the pouch,
Like-
and the rest of him outside of it. You're like carrying him around. It's like, what? I don't know how he got there.
He had a shiny button.
I have many shiny things. I make shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
And then you give me things to add to my shiny things.
But I was gonna say, I did one of the other dragon line. Come on, Joe, you forgot my other one.
Oh, spiritually or physically?
Yes. Aren't all of you dragons right now? And because I was polymorphed into a human, I said, do you mean physically or spiritually?
Your spirit animal is a dragon.
Well,
no,
it
he
was.
was a dragon, but he was in human form,
Yeah.
so spiritually he still was a dragon, but not physically at the moment.
Because I prefer to wear some plate mail and ride the half-dragon direwolf character into battle.
Yes, but the GM complained about that because you wanted an all-dragon game so bad, and then you're like, my character's a dragon, but he's always in his human form. And he's like, what? But you wanted an all-dragon? Ah!
But I was Xena, Princess Mononoke.
I don't know why we're questioning the utility of the Dragon Airship flip map, because obviously you would have used that. So
Exactly. All right, the dragon flip map, ship, airship, whatever. It's existing.
It's
Paizo
cool.
put it out.
It's a thing.
And it's cool.
It's a thing. It's cool. You can have it yourselves.
Dragon's
you know?
cool, just deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's got its utilities. It's probably not as versatile as some other things, but it's
And
still
you
fun.
find a wrecked dragon airship in the middle of a field and you go explore it.
This is true.
They do crash sometimes.
Yes. All right. Somewhere along the way, we have a final topic of normal topics that I had a list of.
Magical fictional work.
We
Magic
don't do
fictional
normal
work.
topics.
Magic fiction.
There we go.
Because we have someone here that's been. I kind of feel like he establishes himself as the writer of short stories of magic on Twitter.
oh man, that is a terrifying distinction.
I mean, you like put out 4 tweets, and they like just tell this ridiculous story in and of itself. And it's basically, you basically do gatewatch cohabitation, and it's hilarious.
yeah, it's essentially if you took the Gatewatch, who are the sort of the flagship brand characters for Magic at the moment, the sort of core group of planeswalkers who they want to establish really as sort of the ambassadors for the brand. And then you just blew them out to be the most ridiculous possible stereotypes of themselves, and then imagine that they're all crashing together and run from that premise.
Hey, it's established they're crashing together in the Magic storylines. That's canon.
That although I always want, that to me, this is the impetus for all this is how does that living arrangement possibly work? And my assumption is probably not great most of the time. So.
This is understandable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, especially anybody who's ever lived with other people, you know that they have their foibles and they have their things that drive you nuts. And for most of us who don't have the ability to just with a little trick of our minds, just vanish off to an entirely different plane of existence and never have to deal with those people again, then raises the question of how you keep that group together when you can just poof off into the ether. So.
That would be great.
Death and murder.
Yeah, that's usually a great way to solve things.
Well, I mean, when you have a necromancer, a catman, basically the quintessential hippie, and a pyromaniac, and then the guy that's sort of the straight man who's telepathy. I mean, come on.
Catman.
At least in my horribly unfair version, yeah, that's certainly the role that I like Jason.
Catman, stop
he always
shoving all over
feels
the
like
furniture.
that, even in the stories. He feels like the guy that's sort of like, I could make powers, and I'm the straight man of all what's going on.
I mean, for me, the temptation is so much that I think for a lot, the part of the aspects of Jason that I find the least interesting to me when we're talking about actor are the parts that make him a sort of fantasy self-insert for, I think, a lot of the Magic playing base, where Jason's kind of like, everybody's like, our stream for what they wish they were. Oh, he's smart, but he can read minds, and he's the blue planeswalker, and everybody, when they start playing Magic, has to go through their blue phase, where you think that's the color you need to play because it's the smart people color. And those are all the things about that I have a hard time doing, and I don't enjoy. So this is my way. It's almost like my subtle little revenge on Jace. That I'm like, if he's going to be a self-insert, I'm going to make him a grotesquely honest self-insert for all of us, in that he's clueless and always the butt of the joke.
Well, if you think about it, though, there's one benefit of living with a cat man. They won't use the bath. They don't take up time in the bathroom. They clean themselves. You know, they poop in the litter box. You don't have to worry.
Someone has to scoop.
Yep. Somebody has to scoop
He's
after.
still a man, so he can scoop for himself.
He can scoop his own stuff.
So.
But you have to worry about him shedding on.
No.
I mean, the fact is, he's gonna shed a lot because he's like a. Is he like a 7 foot tall cat man too?
He is a large
Gotta watch
cat,
the hair balls that he hacks up.
Yeah. And this is exactly the sort of obvious juvenile humor that if you like this, this is what I'm trying to do on a
This is what he does.
So.
It's
we all have our lanes, and this is my lane, and I try to stay in it.
You're swimming in it. Strong.
The other problem is he'd probably mark his section of the apartment.
Wow, thank you, Joe. See, Joe's there just to keep it going down that line.
Keep it going.
I'd take it to another level.
Not one we necessarily need to go to.
Never.
I'm that kind of special. What can I say?
You're very special, Joe. We know.
We'll give you a special treat. You know, it'll be nice.
Joe treats.
Joe likes treats.
Not
I had some kind of point to have, but I've lost it now.
Derailed.
Goal made.
What?
Goal achieved. I mean, what's your point?
The point that I have, to the extent that I ever have a point, and I usually don't, is that I think, to me, it's exciting that Wizards has really sort of placed a renewed emphasis on story as a selling point for the game. That's something that they're taking very seriously now and putting a lot of effort into. And with the sort of Magic community being what the Magic community is, in that we will never be happy with anything. I think the main, if you particularly on Twitter, on things like that, the reaction you always see is everybody who doesn't like the direction that the story is going in at any given moment, and it certainly has its hits for me and it has its misses for me. But I love that it's something that they're devoting attention to.
Yeah, I like actually the storyline of, like, the thing is. Sorry. I like the direction they take in the storyline too. I always feel like when they're doing some of the storylines, it just is so interesting for me, because the fact is, like, I didn't read a lot of them, but I liked when they did the novels. You know, sort of like one of those things. It's like I read a few of them.
Yeah.
But I thought that was always so cool because it, like, they have these little things that they expand. They expand on that storyline, and you can, like, actually feel like it's a living world that you're sort of participating in a little bit more, and I like that.
And for me, those are some of the things I enjoy the most. And to me, one of the unfortunate consequences of all the focus that's gone into developing the Gatewatch characters and having that really be kind of a narrative focus, and I can see why they do that for product reasons, again, because it's to build the brand. But it to some extent, it sort of squeezes out some of the just different storylines, where instead of being focused on the same group of planeswalkers who are following them from plane to plane, it's not as much time for us to explore who are some of the people who just live on these planes, who are some of the people who kind of exist at the periphery of these stories. And to me, that's one of the exciting things about the multiverse and the Magic universe, is that you have this infinite number of planes, you have this infinite number of settings, there's so much room for variety, and there's essentially nothing that you can't do within this very broad set of rules. And to the extent that we're laser focused on the same group of characters, it does mean, I think, that we lose some of that wide angle. But I'm heartened by the fact that it seems like the Magic team has reacted to this, and they've come out and made statements to the effect that, we recognize that I think people are getting a little tired of the Gatewatch. We're a little we're focused on that, and that going forward there's going to be an effort to sort of broaden things out a little bit, and I'm certainly looking forward to that.
I like how they said what Ixalan's not going to be focusing them on all, pretty much. I think they've mentioned that, I believe I heard, and I like that. And so it's like I can look forward to that. And the thing is, I didn't mind the Gatewatch, you know, and I kind of felt like, at least up until now, their stories seem coherent. But I can see how, if you kept going, it might start stretching it out more and more. You know, it's sort of like we had our establishment of it. Cool. Yeah. Then you had your, like, sort of first test of them, you know, finishing off the Eldrazi Titans. And then we have going to Kaladesh, which, yeah, I do feel like the Gatewatch, it didn't allow some of the characters in Kaladesh to establish as much as they probably could have. But I do feel like a couple of them we did establish nicely. And it does sort of then lead us directly into Monket with that storyline. So it's sort of like, these are like, they fit okay, but it's also like, definitely, I can see you can't keep doing it, or it's just going to be the same thing over and over again.
And particularly with Magic, because it is a card game at the end of the day. There are these elements that they play into each other, and I think certainly one of the things that contributes to that fatigue is the fact that you've had a Gideon who's been making Standard miserable now for longer than I care to remember. And when you have the fact that these characters are tied in with cards, and that these cards tend to be powerful on, you know, the best of days, and then at the worst of days they can be format warping, I think you get into the place where that can contribute to maybe this wears out its welcome, where people are like, I'm sick of playing against Gideon. You know what I don't want to do when I'm sitting down reading my Magic fiction is I don't want to hear more about Gideon.
Yeah. It does seem like they have a lot of versions of the Planeswalker cards, particularly them. And that's sort of the problem. Like, when they were a little more spread out between sets, it felt like, you know, so it'd be like, oh, this character shows up in this block, and other characters are showing up in these block, and, you know, and then we're like, oh, someone else entirely in this block. And I felt like they took a step away from that when they moved to the 2-set per block system.
Yeah.
So, I will be happy to see different stuff, definitely. I'd be happy if Hours of Devastation didn't have any of the Gatewatch characters in Planeswalker form. I mean, I don't think it really needs any of them. I don't know.
Well, certainly the thing that everybody has their tinfoil hats on about at the moment is whether or not we're going to kill someone off an Hour of Devastation.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, like, you haven't seen them, like, particularly kill a major storyline character very often, you know? I feel like it's always either very well built.
It's all spare thought for poor Elspeth down in Nyx, but
yeah, that's like the only one that I can feel like has been a major one, and then it's still too, like, the fact is you always saw a tragic end for Elspeth because she kept going on these ridiculous things doing it, you know? It's sort of like it was built into her character almost, you know? She was never happy, she always journeyed, she always thought everything was doomed. You know, always trying to be the hero somewhere, and which was a good thing, but always, like, on a quest that never quite ended. While, like, there's other characters where I feel like their storylines don't have that kind of heaviness to them. Like, technically speaking, though we haven't seen him for a while, I can see tragedy hitting Grook, because he's cursed now. And we haven't heard from him for, like, forever. So what the heck is he doing out there, other than murdering other people? Because he's gone all crazy. But I could see, like, his end, you know, basically, in a storyline.
I'm in the camp where I would be very surprised if we saw a major character die, even in what I would call, like, the comic book sense of dying, where sort of, you know, Elspeth is gone, but we know Elspeth is in Nyx, and I would be very surprised if at some point in the future we don't see Elspeth again.
True.
But hey, if they do it, they will surprise me, and I'll be the first person to admit it. So,
I mean, they did totally kill off Urza. They beheaded him. I think that was pretty good of an end. Just saying. Well, the thing is also, like, I think when they want to truly cut out a storyline, they'll usually do something like that, you know? So if we were never going to revisit the Gatewatch again, I could see a bunch of them, like, one or two of them getting killed off, you know? If maybe those characters, the remaining ones, we might see it again, but not in the same way, I could see it then. But up until then, I don't see it as something they might do.
Well, especially when you get into, this is where you sort of can't avoid the business aspects of it, where if you're positioning these people as the face of your brand, and essentially you want the Gatewatch to be the Avengers for Magic, for lack of a better way of putting it, it certainly creates some level of hero shield around those characters, where, you know, Iron Man or Captain America, to use an analogy here.
You two cut it out in the background.
I haven't read any of these things, and I'm not up to speed on my magic stuff. So
It's fine. But the two of them being very silly in the background.
I don't know what you're talking about,
don't
sir.
know what you're talking about.
I wasn't playing with my dolls again, sir.
Oh God. Alright. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do in Hours of Devastation, and it'll be interesting what direction they take in Ixalan, because I'm sure when we visit it, I feel like they will have a planeswalker we've seen before, at least one of, because they always seem to do that. But who it will be is definitely a question, because they have established definitely a whole bunch of them that are like more like one-shots that could probably happen again.
And that's the other piece of this too, that I think it's always so easy to forget about when we're on the outside looking in, is that, again, because this is the storyline is tied in with these product releases, and, you know, sets are developed on such an amount of lead time, that the ability to react to something and to change based on what gets a good public reaction, what doesn't get a good public reaction, there's a huge lag time. And so, you know, again, it's I think right in the next couple of blocks will be really the first opportunity to sort of see reflected in the actual card sets some of the reaction to how people have responded to Gatewatch and the story elements.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna see how things go from now on. I'm hoping we get some more like announcements or something, you know, especially for Hours of Devastation, just some hints at stuff that's coming up, because I guess it's almost June. They're probably going to be giving us something soon, you know. Same with Ixalan, because the thing is, like, they haven't even got like a art for it or something. I haven't seen any yet, at least if they've put it out. Like they had like the nice like Egyptian piece of art, you know, sort of like the big pyramid for Monket. So I'm hoping to see something soon. All right, why don't we move on, though, to, of course, stories from the table. And if we have new people here, I like to focus on them for stories from the table, which is either a role-playing game, a magic deck, or perhaps even, if you had a really awesome session of a tabletop game, like a card game or something, and it was awesome and you want to talk about it, any kind of story you have. Oh, new person to this,
That's you, Orc. Go for it.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I'm gonna go back. Oh God, I'm not even gonna say how many years ago this was at this point, because it's gonna date me even more than all the gray I got coming in here at this point.
It's okay. Most of us are old.
Yeah. Back in our day.
I'm going to go all the way back to when I was in college, and we used to play a lot of Call of Cthulhu one-shots. So, you know, get together, get 6-8 people, you know, get some snacks, get some chips, plop on a, you know, park in the library for 4, 5, 6 hours on a weekend, and just do a Call of Cthulhu one-shot. And the one that is ingrained in my mind is we did one of these, which revolved in no small part around trying to get access to a cube. This little black cube that had some sort of mysterious eldritch significance. And one of our party members, one of our investigators, Nate, had by this time already glimpsed enough of the unthinkable that he had had to roll for his indefinite insanity, and he had the shakes. He had terrible shakes, so his hands shook, and he, constantly couldn't stand still. And finally, we reached where the cube was. Someone else in the party picked it up, and then for reasons which were never clear to anybody, other than that clearly he didn't think it through, he just tossed it to Nate, who had the shakes, and who of course had to make a check to see if he caught it or not, and did not catch it and dropped it, and that was how we all died. So keep track of what the indefinites are in your party. Know who's got what conditions, and if after all this effort you finally uncovered the secret MacGuffin that is the key to everything, maybe don't just lob a pass to the guy who has the shakes.
Seems like fair, solid advice. Yeah,
Or do if you want to destroy your universe.
Yeah, I mean that's always a fun time.
Universe destruction has been one of those pastimes in a bunch of games I've been in. So
I can break the black egg
of the Phoenix, which technically destroys the universe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Legends. Cool. Call of Cthulhu is definitely one of those games I actually still want to try and haven't yet, along with GURPS. GURPS and Call of Cthulhu. Yep. So it's very cool to have someone around that actually has played it. All right. Why don't we move on from stories from the Gaming Sage Advice.
No, we're moving from stories from the table to
Gaming Sage Advice. If anybody in chat has some kind of question they want to ask, go ahead. If not, I will turn to if any of our guests have a question, and then if they do not, I think I have one interesting based upon what we've been talking about a little bit.
What we've been talking about? Cheese?
Look, how long will the beatings commence?
I missed like 20% of what we talked about this entire time, plus everything in chat.
Yep.
So the insanity has been like here today.
It's all over.
Chat was just beatings and cookies.
Yeah. I'm handing out cookies and beatings. Which line do you want to get in?
I'm getting in the middle. I'm going to eat some cookies while I receive my beating.
See? He knows where it's at.
Oh, chat. Thank you for.
we keep things going.
God.
With Bethel.
Trying to think if I have any questions. I got one that I could ask you, Matt, because it has to do with our game on Sundays. So we don't use maps.
Yep.
Almost at all. Actually,
nope.
At all. So,
well, you're going to be using a dragon airship.
Yes, I know we're going to be using a dragon airship going forward. But
just the dragon airship.
Just the dragon airship for everything. It's
just
like, we're in a temple. Why is it suspiciously shaped like a dragon airship? Because that's the only damn map I have. Yeah, so what would you say would be the advantage to keeping maps very light or non-existent in a game versus using visuals?
Actually, I feel like it depends on the type of adventure you're running. Maps have very good places to them. The kind of game that I'm running where you're traveling around a lot and it does occasionally have this like dungeon feel, but it's never meant to be truly a dungeon crawl. Mm-hmm. You're not going to need as much of the map in front of you. You're not going to be thinking about revisiting a lot of these places in general. Again, it's not saying you can't, but because we're establishing the fact that you don't really need it, then it's not something that if you have it or don't have it, it's not going to harm you not to have it. Mm-hmm. While if there's something like a area where you're dungeon crawling, or especially an area where tactics matter, then a map's important. So
that's what I was going to say. If there's going to be a tactical battle, then it's better to have a map, because then you're going to need to go, okay, so this guy's here, I need to go around this column, hide behind it, and snipe out and shoot him.
But that's exactly why when I write a lot of my encounters for Treasure of the Lost Legion, I don't write them tactically. Because I could theoretically do that and put together some maps, but usually I don't have a lot of extra time during the week to be doing that. Not that sometimes it's more difficult than others. Like, certain maps would probably be very easy to throw together. But because I want to keep myself standardized, I always plan out, if I'm having any kind of encounter, have it more story-driven, simple, things like that keep you, that you don't have to worry necessarily about a map, that my description should be enough for it. Like when I had you fight the tree moves. The fact that, like, oh, one's popping down on a tree next to you. You can imagine that right away.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to see it on a map to be like, oh my god, it's right next to me, you know, kind of thing. And it's using small descriptions like that allow me not to. And that one was also very dynamic because you were basically trying to, like, move along now.
Let me whistle. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Well, I think also with streaming, it's harder to incorporate the maps.
Yes.
Because then you're gonna have to take up a portion of the screen so the audience can see it as well, and that's more time consuming.
It can be done. Like, okay, so we can use two different streams as examples. That's really well in this. Dice Camera Actions with Chris Perkins. I don't think he's ever used a map.
No.
That's it. He does not use a map. He always just does it by the words. He's basically that type of GM, which is fine. You know, he gives the full description. He always writes it out in a way that you don't have to worry about a map. For something like Lost Initiative, which I'm friends with the DM, Scott, he uses maps occasionally. He usually uses them for certain battles, where it feels like it's tactically going to be appropriate. Like if there's a bunch of creatures or things like that. Or when I was on that one-shot run by Maggie, who was on last week, she did a lot of maps. Like, a lot of maps. But the thing is, she's very good at Roll20, and she also purchased a lot of stuff. So she purchased a lot of pre-made things that she could throw together a lot simpler.
Yeah.
Then you're willing
Dragon
to spend
Airship.
money. Yes.
Dragon Airship. She has two of them, in fact.
Well, she said she spent like I think like $200 on stuff for like getting everything she wanted.
Okay.
But I understand that maybe you want to use those again if you do like another one shot or something, because you still have them.
Yeah.
It's like tools that you establish. But like for myself, I have nowhere near that amount of money right now to spend on map stuff. Yeah. If I had that amount of money, I would probably spend it on a book for a one shot or something that I might run on the channel.
Gotcha.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know, because we've talked a lot about these like interesting gaming systems. That'd be like really cool to try out sometime. I would love to do that at some point in time here on Twitch. If that would be my like sort of focus.
Gotcha.
And yeah.
So
I think
I have a lead-up question to that then. How do you prep differently for a essentially map list session versus one that uses a lot of elements? Like, how does your writing notes change?
That's actually a really good question. Normally, if I'm using a map, I try to go more in depth in my planning. Like, let's example, like the Treasure of the Lost Sky. I actually did have a very loose map in my notes with a bunch of notes on it for the different rooms. So I had an idea of where everything was on the temple. While, like, for example, the forest where you fought the Trimu, I had an idea. It's a forest, there's a path through it, there's going to be some kind of bird in there. After that, I played it by ear about, like, sort of describing things. You know, I just threw things together as it felt appropriate to where you were going. I also had an idea of, like, there's some kind of component inside the mountain where you can access, like, the controls of this one bridge. I really kind of described everything when Joe climbed in there. I had only, like, a loose idea what I wanted to do until he actually did that. You know, if you guys had checked out the cave earlier, I probably would have had you, like, figure something else differently, come up with, like, a different way of describing it. You know, so it's like each component, I come up with a basic for that, and then sort of the map, almost, I'm not putting the map in solid stone then. I'm usually just making notes on the encounter itself, and maybe a little bit of the setting, and then, you know, as we evolve it. While definitely, like, as I said, the map portion of it, that's going to be, I'm solidifying a lot more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, it's the improvisation versus planning, you know? Okay. I think that's a great way of putting it. It's like with with how I've been playing Treasure Lost Legion, I've been using it to practice my improvisation as a GM, which is something that I was always pretty bad at back in the day, and I found that the exercise of it has been really great on me, improving that. And basically keeping my maps very simple, if I'm putting any together, has helped that too.
Cool.
Yep. That sounds like a very good question to ask, and we're somewhere in the hours? I don't know anymore. We're somewhere along here.
Like an hour in, technically?
I don't know. It's good enough for today. We started late, and
time
You're
and space have
exasperated.
lost all meaning.
We started late, stopped, started later,
Stopped. Starting later.
started again,
and then continued.
and I finally was able to join in and get some stuff done. I tried to set up speakers because these things fortunately have been very good because I haven't been moving around a lot. But when we were first trying to set up, it kept cutting out on me.
Although what I want to know from the chat is, what was better, that or the door behind him?
Cast your votes now, or get beatings.
Look,
Well, we're
The
all
door-
out of cookies already,
Or
so-
stayed in character.
the closet door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had disappeared for a while, and it was just closet door.
Yeah, we're just
I
like,
was-
where did he
Yeah,
go?
I know. I was trying to set up speakers and it didn't work.
Yeah, they're like, is that a computer? Is he carrying another computer around? What's happening?
Because when these things were cutting out for a long time, and it was like, I can't hear anything. Everybody keeps going quiet. This isn't working. I'll try the
You
speakers.
don't need to hear us. We'll just mime to you.
Mhm. All the miming.
All right, everyone. I hope everyone had a great day. We'll try to
Fix
not
things?
have problems next time.
I will work on his computer tonight, so we don't have problems for the stream tomorrow.
Good job, Joe.
It's got to be something with OBS or Skype because, as I said, everything else the sound's
It's
fine
just a
when I have the
checkbox.
headphones on.
Guys, it's
Could
just
be
a
Skype
checkbox.
BS.
It's a checkbox I can't find.
It's literally a checkbox somewhere.
Well, the checkbox you showed me, I found, and it was checked, and it wasn't working. It hates me. It hates me. It does.
It's your precious
Well,
exhausted.
and thank you all for the momentary lapse of judgment, which results in me being on this show. So,
All right, why don't we kind of go through people and
Don't go through me.
pimp stuff or something. Our good friend, our librarian Orc. How about you? We start with you.
oh no, what am I on now?
Pimp thyself.
Pimp thyself.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter at bibliovoreorc.
Yeah, there you go. It's under guests.
Yes.
Because I set that up.
Good job.
Yay.
Woohoo!
It's me, Mario.
And how about that one?
Yes. Barrels.
Behind me,
I am
child.
not a child.
Wait.
Nice.
I say that way too much in that game now.
Uh-huh. And I got Whisper too.
Oh yes, I was gonna say I hope mine's ooh shiny. Don't question his spacing.
I need to invent some glitter dust.
Yeah, because you could just distract me all the time.
Yes.
That would have been useful with the plant monster.
Anyway, we were back to pimping. We interrupted pimping.
You interrupted pimping. Let him finish his pimping.
Yeah, go ahead and pimp.
You now have the pimp stick. Go.
I did it. I already bedazzled
that's
myself.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's just Twitter. Okay.
Rachel, pimp thyself.
Pimp thyself. I am now your mistress and host, and thank you for joining the stream. And that's it. Have a great day. No, you can follow me at RB Swertfeger, or that's my personal one, or I have a podcast that I'm working on with some friends, and it is at Rules as Written, and we talk about rules and nerdy things, and it's currently, we actually have not next Saturday, but the 10th, we're actually scheduled a full day of of recording to start putting out all our new episodes. So things are coming. I still am fighting with iTunes and Podbean, of course, but that's besides the point. So those are my things, and then tomorrow, of course, we will be playing our game for Treasure of the Lost Legion.
Yep.
Where I'm a cat. Meow.
If you need me to pimp slap someone, let me know.
Okay.
I got the
Go
pimp
ahead, Joe.
slapping, sir.
Okay.
Joe, anything in particular special or existing?
I exist! And
Yay!
I'll be existing tomorrow on Treasure of the Lost Legion.
Oh.
And be back next weekend.
With
For
hopefully
more
less
Discussing
issues.
Tabletop.
Yes, with hopefully less issues.
Yeah.
There's always going to be issues. We just accept it.
The technical issues will one day be gone. I'm sure of it. One day.
And previous leader, who is now subservient to our mistress.
Yes, go ahead, Matt. Would you like
I'll
to pimp
pimp
yourself?
myself.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right.
I'll allow
of
it
course-
this time.
Yes. Of course, we got Treasure of the Lost Legion tomorrow. I got a gaming stream tomorrow evening, of course. Yeah, we're gonna fix the volume. I'll figure out the goddamn volume problem sometime over the past weekend or something.
We will upgrade to a tin cup and a string.
And hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll work. So tomorrow Treasure, and video game stream in the evening. I don't know if Civilization or Stardew yet. I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know.
Civilization do.
That'd be interesting, actually. But no.
Starduvation.
Starduvation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Videos are coming out on the channel as normal. I put out my links in the chat if you guys want to check out anything, especially the channel. Pimped out myself there. I think that's everything important. I can't think of anything else because this entire session has crushed my soul slightly, so I guess we're good to go. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.